Welcome each and everyone to the Blitz Global Training, which we have every Monday, calling it the school. Please understand, this school is for your benefit. What it does, it actually helps you build the business faster, build the business better, and there's a lot that you can actually take from school, right? Now, personally, I've been in the business for more than 13 years full time. And a lot of you would probably be thinking along the lines of wanting to go full time someday. Someday, may not be today, someday, right? And all this experience that I'm actually gathered over the last 13 years, I'm actually giving it to you on a platter so that it can actually help you decide, make that decision of how or when you should actually even be thinking whether this business is worth it or not to actually go full time, right? So that's what it is. So let's actually start with the school today. Here, we are actually talking about your story, right? Now, everybody has a story, but we have the control to define what our story will be, right? Every Monday, we have actually introduced a school which basically teaches you how you can actually improve your life with an opportunity called Renown Global, and then we've been doing this for from the beginning of this year, and we will keep continue doing this over and over again till we change and touch millions of lives all across the globe, right? So now here comes the first question. What's your story? So let's start your life transformation, understanding how does this whole thing go, right? Now, the first question that I would like to ask each and every one out here is, are you ready to rewrite your story? Because if you're very comfortable where you are today, you would not be here in this room. You would obviously not be here in this opportunity either because you're very, very comfortable where you are. So basically, what we're trying to say out here is you need help and you would like to rewrite your story, right? So the first question I would like to actually ask you is, are you ready to rewrite your story? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not ready to write your story remains the same. If you are currently suffering doing something and keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's not going to help anybody. It's definitely not going to help you or not going to help your family. See, now that you're ready, let's actually proceed. Now, there are two kind of lifestyles that we actually have out here, right? The question is, are you carrying the buckets or building a pipeline? Now, this in network marketing is one of the most strongest and one of the most oldest story. Now, there were two people, okay? Now, this is actually called the Pablo story. So I would say one person is Pablo and the other one is John. They were two friends and they were born in the same city pretty much the same time. They both went to schools together, they went to colleges together, and they lived their life together, did everything. Every morning when they woke up, their job was to carry this thing on their back, go all the way from the house, walk to the river to collect water. They would actually fill two full buckets of water and walk back. And they did this exercise for years because if one day they could not get that water for their house, there would be no water in their house. So they had to do it, and they were the responsible husbands, they were the responsible children, and they would do this for everybody, right? But Pablo one day had a discussion with John, asking John, how many years are we going to do this? Because I'm kind of getting old and my shoulders are not strong enough to carry that bucket of water. And they had to walk 30 minutes to the river, walk back 30 minutes, carrying that heavy water on their shoulder. What John did was John said, listen, we don't have a choice, so we got to keep doing this because there is nothing more important than bringing water to our house. And this saga went for years till Pablo decided there should be a certain or better way to do this. So, what did Pablo do? He started laying a pipe, okay, a pipeline from Pablo's house towards the river. The first year went past, okay. John asked Pablo, what are you doing? You've been wasting your 1 year. So Pablo said, I'm actually making a pipeline. And someday, if we actually connect or the pipeline reaches the river, maybe water comes to our house. John thought Pablo was crazy. Another year passed by. John broke friendship with Pablo, and their friendship was for a very, very long time, right? So the next morning, these people would actually go collect the water together. John would leave 5 minutes earlier than the correct time, and he would be walking alone. And he would suddenly keep looking back, and Pablo is also doing the same thing. But Pablo is very tired because he's been doing something called building a pipeline. So what John would do, go fast, collect the water, come back. And whenever he sees Pablo cross the path, he would tell Pablo, you're crazy, you're stupid, right? And you're wasting your time and you're going to kill yourself one day. But Pablo did not listen to John. Pablo kept doing this the third year also. One fine day, John wakes up holding his buckets, walking towards this thing. 5 minutes earlier, looks back, he does not see Pablo. He just does not see Pablo. He goes all the way to the river and back, and he still does not see Pablo. The first thing John was worried about was, is Pablo dead? Is Pablo dead? Because they've been doing this for years and they've been doing this together as a team. But John lost trust on Pablo. They even broke friendship. So immediately Pablo goes, puts the bucket of water. John goes, puts the bucket of water in the house, goes to Pablo's house to check if Pablo is alive. And there was Pablo sitting with his family and having fun. So he goes, what happened, Pablo? I did not see you collect the water. He said, that's correct. He goes, your family will die if the bucket, right, of water does not arrive. So Pablo had actually invented something called a tap. And all Pablo had to do was spin the tap and the water would come home. John and Pablo were best of friends. They did everything together from birth. But Pablo was a nice guy. Pablo said, now that the tap has come to my house, you don't have to go all the way to the river to collect water every day. I can give you the same water sitting in our house. And that's called the pipeline story, right? Now, you need to relate this with your job, right? Being employed or self-employed is, self-employed doing a small business is like carrying the bucket backwards and forward from the water source to your house. And ladies and gentlemen, the day you stop, so does the flow of the water. And there is also a limit of the amount of water one person can actually carry. Now, I would like to actually refer to this as John's decision to work for a company. When you work for a company, yes, you got a lot of perks, you got benefits, you got this, you got that. But one day, the company says your service is not required. In my experience, I've got 28 years of corporate experience. You know, a tragedy actually happened in my company. And the day that happened, I could not work for the company. There was a person who actually would, our office would start at 8 a.m. in the morning, and this guy would be the one coming a little earlier to make sure the office is very, very clean. So he would come normally by 7 o'clock, making sure everybody's tables, the office is vacuumed, everything is brushed up, everything looks nice and clean before everybody arrives. So he comes to the office by 7 a.m., an hour before anybody lands, 1 hour before anybody comes in. But he gets into the lift, and while going up, some technical problem happens and the lift cord breaks. And the lift cord breaks and the lift smashes on the ground, and this gentleman died in the lift. He just died, yeah? We come 8 o'clock in the morning, we're trying to get the lift is stuck because the lift is broken. So, for a change, what we did was that day we used the steps and we went up. Everyone's angry. People are wondering, where is this guy? Because this guy would also serve us fresh tea and coffee in the morning. But this guy doesn't show up. The guy doesn't show up because he had an accident in the lift. A few hours later is when we found out that this gentleman died because his lift, the wire snapped up. But you know what the company did? After getting that news, yes, we were very sad as a company. But in the next 15 minutes, they hired another person to make that tea and coffee for everyone. And that's the day I realized we are existent with a company only till, you know, we're doing that job. But the day we get old, just like Pablo and John did, nobody needs us because we become we become dispensable, right? People with a lesser experience takes that job. And in COVID-19, I've seen a lot of people lose their jobs, losing their jobs to people with a lot lesser experience, lot lower salary, because company can only afford that. Doing a pipeline is amazing. Why? Being a business owner or investor is like having the pipeline that keeps delivering even when you're not there. See, what John and Pablo had to remember, I mean, Pablo was more careful, so he took care of it. What happens if John would have died? John's son, John's wife, or John's mother would have to have done the same thing all over again, going to the river every single day and getting that water. But what did Pablo do? He made a pipeline for him and his family. So when something ever happens to Pablo, his family does not need to suffer for this. Okay. You need to create a pipeline only once. Network marketing is a pipeline business. And what we're going to do is we as a team Blitz, we're going to help you create your pipeline in 3 years or less. Now, when I talk to people, they tell me, hey, working the 40-40-40 rule is what it takes. Well, I don't think so. What is the 40-40 rule? You work 40 hours a week for 40 long years and earn 40% of the potential income that you should or could have made. And once you retire or you resign, you get something called EOSB, which stands for End of Service Benefit. And that's the last paycheck you're going to get from the company. And then, till the rest of your life or till you die, you're either living off that savings, which again is not a very big thing because when you started your job 40 years back, inflation was not there. And today, inflation alone is going to kill you. So that 40% would not hold a lot of value, right? And that's why it's very, very important to decide whether you're going to carry that buckets, you're expecting your kids to do this, you're expecting your wife to do this, your mother or father to do this at an older age, or are you willing to put that little extra effort to build the pipeline for yourself, for your family, so that when you grow older, or 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, just like Pablo, all you need to do is turn that knob and the water would enter your household. And that's how beautiful this is. What does it take to build a pipeline? Please write this down, right? The very first thing that you need to define is your goal. You need to be very specific as to what is it that you're trying to do out here, what makes you wake up in the morning with determination, what keeps you going in the game, what keeps you talking to more and more people on a daily basis. And that can be done only if you define your goal, right? A dream is no good if you don't have a goal. And to make dreams happen, you need to have a goal and a date. And this opportunity, trust me or not, this opportunity can change a lot of lives in the next 3 years, provided you're ready to build the pipeline. So once you've defined your goal, now you need to develop a plan for yourself. This is what I'm going to do. Now, the plan that we're actually talking about is called the daily method of operation. Today I wake up, I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do this. That's called developing a plan. Step three would be taking action. Now, let me tell you something. When you start taking action, you're not going to see supersonic results day one. But you know what? You still have to stick to the plan. Because if you keep changing the plan, you're not going to get anywhere with your life. So you take action, you stick to it, you stick to it, you stick to it till the pipeline is created. And the day the pipeline is created, you will see tons and tons of success. Ladies and gentlemen, this company gives you 12 ways of making money. When I say 12 ways of making money, what does it mean? You're building 12 pipelines at the same time. No other opportunity gives you an opportunity to make 12 pipelines in one go. It's not possible. But here you are with an opportunity that's giving you the opportunity to make 12 pipelines in one go, right? In one go, you're making 12 pipelines. So this is definitely workable. But you're not even going to build one pipeline if you're not going to start today towards working your goals. Because if your goals don't mean anything to you, how are we supposed to help? That's the first story. The second story is called the game of chess. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a king. And in the king, they were very rich, and people had, I mean, the workers would always work, and the kings had a lot of time in their hand. So what the king did is he goes to one of his top wazirs in the company or in the kingdom and says, I want you to invent a nice game. So what the wazir did was he actually invented the game of chess, right? So Wazir invented the game of chess. He taught the king this is how the game is to be played. The king was very, very happy. He was very, very happy with the game. So he was very excited, elated, and said, Wazir, I'm going to give you a good gift. What gift do you want for inventing this wonderful game called chess? So Wazir's wife was there with Wazir. Wazir's wife said, ask a lot of gold, ask a lot of land, ask a lot of this, ask a lot of that, right? So the king kept asking the Wazir, so how can I reward you? What the Wazir said was, King, I need 1 grain of rice. And every day I want you to double it. Just 1 grain of rice. The king laughed at the wazir and asked him, are you sure that's all you want? The wazir said, yes. And the king says, done. Now, Wazir and his wife are walking back home. Wazir's wife is screaming her lungs out on the wazir. They're fighting all the way. Wazir tells his wife, I know what I'm doing. The wife says, you are stupid. And by the time they reach home, the wife packs her bag and decides to leave the house. And she's gone. She's gone with her kids, she's gone with everything. And Wazir, after inventing such a wonderful game, is all alone in his house thinking, what just happened? So the next day, Wazir goes to the kingdom. And finally, the king gives him 1 grain of rice. He said, thank you so much. I'll come back for my double tomorrow. Wazir goes home. The king started laughing. Everybody in the kingdom thought the wazir is stupid and crazy at the same time. The second day, the wazir comes back and says, can I get my grain of rice? And they gave him 2 grains of rice. Third day, 4 grains of rice. And then it started from there. By the time it was half time, the king got bankrupt. This is the power of duplication. Because what Wazir wanted for him and his family was the power of duplication, right? Let me actually show you how the story is. By the way, just for your information, a chessboard has 64 squares. 64. Write this down. A chess game has 64 squares. And if you keep getting double, you'd go crazy. Let's put that into perspective. Let's say today you ask me 2 cents, just 2 cents. When you ask me 2 cents or 2 pennies, nobody is going to say no to that. But tomorrow, if you ask me to double it, I owe you 4 cents, just like what the wazir had asked for. And then day 3, it became 8 cents, 16 cents. When I said that, the grain of rice had actually doubled, step number 31, okay, which is halfway stage of the chess, the king owed 21 million grains of rice to the wazir, and the king went bankrupt. The power of duplication is the most strongest thing that can actually happen. Now, the beauty of the power of duplication is not only your effort, it is pipeline. You get paid for your efforts, you also get paid for your team's effort. But all you got to do is make up your mind and work with your team for 2 to 3 years, hand in hand. If the 3 years, it's not like you're going to make money only after 3 years. You make money from the beginning, but the money in the first few months or weeks is small money. And this is when most of the people end up either giving up or saying this business is a scam, or this doesn't work, or the upline is selfish, and blah, 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 blah. And that's what happens. To reach where you want to reach, you got to do what others don't do. And that's called work a little harder. So many people in today's testimony say we made money, which is great stories. But what is your story? And you got to define your story. Right. Success happens when we leave our comfort zone. It's very simple to say, oh, this didn't happen, oh, that didn't happen. If it is your life and you want to make it happen, then do something about it. The question is, how willing are you to step out into the unknown and do something new? Because if you keep doing the same old thing, things are not going to change. You got to be willing to do something new, step out of the comfort zone, go into the unknown, explore something new, and do something new. And that's when something's going to happen for you. That's the only time when something is going to happen for you. Right. Now, what's our vision? Everybody out here in our team is born with the ability to change someone's life. Don't waste it. If you want to change somebody's life, go ahead and change it. Don't waste your opportunity. And trust me when I say this. Trust me. Can somebody just mute Abir? Thank you. Just trust me when I say this, yeah? Our vision, we don't sell stuffs. We are not product salespeople. We don't sell stuffs. What do? We offer hope, health, excitement, and freedom. Freedom from what? The 40, 40, 40, which is the biggest scam in the world, according to me. We don't sell anything. We're not here to sell anything. So we don't want you to buy anything. We offer hope, health, excitement, and the freedom. The freedom for life, right? The freedom for life to do what you want and how you want to do it. We lock arms with people who want to do the same and have fun doing it. I've always said this in my training. If you're not having fun in doing what you're doing, you're not going to do it. You gotta have fun. And what are we trying to do? As a team, as a family, we are locking arms with people who want to do the same and have fun doing it. And if we find a group of people who are actually like us, who never give up and keep walking, we will be successful. Your life has a purpose and your story is important. Your dreams count and your voice matter. You were born to make an impact. Stop thinking, oh, this life is not for you. This life is for you. And you're the boss and you're the one going to write your story, provided you are ready to rewrite your story. Because your life definitely has a purpose and every story is important, right? Your testimony is important, right? It's not important how many millions I make. It's not important how many millions any other leader makes. What's the most important thing? How much money did this opportunity give you, right? So the most important thing is what's your story? Because the stronger your story, the more people will love you. And that's when more people are going to believe, man, this is a happening business, right? Use your stories to ignite performance and be a more successful leader. What's your story? Use the stories to ignite performance and be a better person, a better father, a better mother, a better sister, a better son. Be it who you are supposed to be. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's your story. So my only one question to you is, what's your story? Because everybody has the right and the courage and the determination to rewrite their stories. Someone said, what if this does not work? Okay. Well, if this did not work, I'm sorry, you may have wasted 3 years. But it's not going to take you 3 years to make money here. So when you talk about what if this does not work, my question is, what if it works? What if this opportunity is the opportunity that's going to give you that one chance of becoming a millionaire, of becoming financially free, for becoming your own boss, to do what you want when you want without fearing two things: time and money. Where your kids can go to any school they want. You can go and buy anything you want. You live a dream life. You can drive a car of any brand you want. So, my question is, instead of thinking, what if it does not happen, start thinking, what if it happens? Because if it happens, you're a very, very happy family. And you know that, and I know that as well, right? A lot can happen a year. A lot can happen in 1 year. I always end my presentation with this slide where I say, I can do it, I will do it, we can do it, we will do it. Guys, we are a teamwork, and teamwork make dreams work, right? And that's my story. My story is to help you people achieve your dreams, your goal, your targets of life. But I'm sorry, I cannot help anybody if you're not serious about your life. Thank you so much. This is Pradeep Menon signing out. Let me stop recording.